All right, Knucklehead Nation, I am back again with a special one for you guys. I'm here with Cameron Fardad here, getting ready for his fight here at FightersRep 20 against Dennis the Menace Kovalev. How are you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling good. I'm getting ready for this bout. It's going to be my first kickboxing bout. Actually, I've got plenty of MMA bouts. Actually, just had one last Saturday. So trying to stay active and feeling good. Ready for the experience, and I'm ready to stand and bang.
Perfect transition. I did want to ask you specifically about that. No, for those not familiar with Cameron, you do have a pretty expansive grappling background, right? You are a black belt, and then obviously have some wrestling experience, and we've seen you plenty of times in the MMA cage. But now you're kind of finally making that jump over to amateur kickboxing. I know you have done a few smokers. Is that true?
Yeah. So I participated in the Defiant Smoker Series. For those of the listeners that are in the LA area and are familiar with the kickboxing Muay Thai scene, they'd be familiar with Defiant, just the gym out in Burbank, and they have another one out in downtown LA. So I participated in the first iteration of that Smoker Series, and was able to get a finish in the third round. But yeah, as far as the grappling background goes, been grappling for many years. Um, all of my MMA wins have come by first round submission finish. So I'm definitely more experience on the grappling side. But as I look to make the transition to professional MMA, I want to obviously cover all my bases and, really get that stand up kickboxing experience. Because, like I said, they've all been first round submission finishes. So, haven't really had the opportunity in the MMA cage to get those minutes on the feet that I'd like. So, looking to put myself in an environment where I have no choice.
Well, I do have to say though, I was overwatching, obviously a lot of your MMA fights. That's the majority of the footage that's out there. You're no slouch on the feet either. You're one guy that I really enjoy who kind of puts together that kind of mix up of that style of being able to put the hands to your takedowns. I think that's, I'm not going to say underrated. I think that's one of the most important skills, I think, personally, for anyone who has a great grappling background who then wants to have a full MMA game. But I did want to ask a little bit more about your experience in that kind of kickboxing smoker because I did watch the footage of that, and you looked more than completely comfortable, man. Like I thought it was a great performance. You can see you in between rounds, just getting hyped up, feeling super comfortable in there. So take me through what it was like having your first kind of like kickboxing smoker with the big gloves, the shin guards, the headgear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, it was a great experience. Totally different feel in a ring as opposed to in a cage.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think I am a competitor at the end of the day. And I do find comfort in competition. And like you said, I'm not a slouch on the feet by any stretch of the imagination, but where my standard is for myself, it's much higher than where I am now. The standard I set for myself is the same standard I set for myself in the grappling and in jujitsu, which is, I want to be able to compete at the highest level. So I think I've got a ways to go in terms of being able to compete in kickboxing at the highest level. But that, to say that I'm green in kickboxing, I'd say maybe that's a little bit of a stretch. I just my standard that I set for myself is much higher.
Well, as we all know, mentality is what makes champions, and one thing I really like when I see amateur fighters, especially, of your caliber and ones who do want to make that jump and transition is the fact that you guys get a wealth of experience. Actually talking, we was actually talking about that same philosophy with Ray Jing. Shout out to the EYR division.
Yes, baby.
And we were talking about that, about how you see a lot of fighters where they'll kind of make that jump to pro after dominating maybe like let's say a string of 5 MMA fights, right? You get through, you get all first round finishes, and you see guys make that jump to pro. And then when they run in and start to realize they have holes in their games, it's too late to really kind of fix that record.
Yeah.
Um, and so one of the things that I like, and I'm kind of seeing out of both, Pugilist Gym and the combination of Thor, and honestly just gyms in general, that they're taking the philosophy is to get your amateurs as much experience, but across as many sports as possible. So that when they do make that jump, whether it's to professional MMA or even into the professional kickboxing ranks, there's no real big holes. You're not making many learning lessons there.
Right. Yeah. I think it's important if you want to be successful in anything to be honest with yourself, to be able to self-analyze effectively. And it's clear that if I was a video game character and my experience points bars were filled up, my grappling, my jujitsu would be very, very filled up, and my stand up, my kickboxing. I mean, it wouldn't. Not that it would be bad. It just wouldn't be at the level that my
Mhm.
my grappling is at. And wanting to be as successful as possible and willing to be honest with myself has led me to, throw myself into the fire when it comes to the kickboxing. And I'm very comfortable doing that. I'm excited to do that. Yeah. So this was just the logical next step. And I think a lot of people maybe aren't willing to self-analyze honestly and make that logical next step. They want to stay comfortable, but I want to win. I don't want to be comfortable.
I like that. I like that metaphor. It's kind of like when you're playing an RPG and you pick the preset character,
Exactly. I'm
like
the
whatever's
jujitsu
the
preset.
mentality. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Exactly.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say though, that's why I respect you a lot as a fighter. I've been actually very excited to get to talk to you. I've kind of followed you for a little bit now, and obviously saw the hilarious interview clips. Like one of my favorites was after one of your fights, you walked over to the schmo and kept going on like as many schmo puns as you possibly could.
I froze him. That's funny is the Shimo. So uh the the promotion that I plan on going professional with and have done a couple amateur fights with, the Schmo does announcing for them. And the Schmo shtick, if you will, is to sort of make the interviewee a little uncomfortable and to be a little goofy. And I picked that up early. I've been following the Schmo for a while, so my goal is to out Schmo the Schmo every single time that I get an interview with the Schmo. And it's funny. I think I've been winning the battles. I think in terms of who makes who uncomfortable, I think I've been getting the better side of that whenever I talk to the Schmo. So that's funny. Yeah, that was a funny one.
I definitely have to agree, man. You're definitely icing out the schmo at every chance you get. Honestly, on any interview, that was like my one big nervous me being like, man, I hope I don't get like one upped by this guy.
No, I mean, the Schmo asked for it. He starts it, so I just finish it. That's it.
That is one thing I've always enjoyed, though. You seem like a guy that doesn't take himself too seriously. I've seen you in like lead up. I think it was like for a Spar Star fight, um, where like they asked your opponent, and he gave this like very complicated, like your typical like confident answer, and like you gave like a one word answer. You're like,
You're
oh,
talking about
okay,
the lead up to the Bobby Winther fight.
yeah.
Yeah, I like to have fun, and I know that the chances when you ask a fighter a question, they're gonna give you. I can tell you what they're gonna say. We've heard it 100 times, just different iterations of the same exact answer. So I knew that juxtaposing my sort of silliness against that would have been really funny, and it ended up working out even better than I imagined. So yeah, I like to have fun. I like to joke around. Um, but above all, I like to win. So all of this stuff that happens outside of the cage in the ring, that's all fun and games, and I'm willing to play those games. But uh, no one should be confused about how seriously I take the actual fight itself.
And that exactly leads me into my next question, because obviously we got through the personality stuff. We already know you're a great guy who loves to entertain, but also coming back, you already said you're a competitor. That's the one thing I really enjoyed. Like I said, watching that smoker, and what gives me a lot of confidence for you coming into this fight is your calmness. I haven't seen you in a fight or a competition yet really kind of go, at least when you've been in bad spots, like look that uncomfortable or be like, oh, what do I do here? Like you always keep calm and can always at least maintain to the game plan. So, how was it kind of, like I said, adjusting kind of styles and not having that grappling, at least for that smoker, and knowing that, what you're going to have to rely on, at least stand up wise and even tactic wise, is going to have to change a little bit.
Well, you know, I would say that I have gotten that ability to keep calm and make the right decisions, actually from my experience in jiu-jitsu, because coming up in a jiu-jitsu class with all adults, you're a teenager, all adults that are bigger than you, stronger than you, better than you. For the first year, 2 years, you're basically in a bad position all the time, and getting smashed all the time. So I've developed that tool of realizing that spazzing out and losing your confidence and, losing that relaxed state is the beginning of the end. And it's going to make you tired faster. It's going to make you make poor decisions. So that's a lesson that I've learned in the grappling that I think I'm able to bring over uh, to the kickboxing. And then in addition, another lesson that I learned was that, you have your tools that work, and you need to, be confident in your technique, be confident in the tools that you have, and figure out how to make them work. That's what the game is you're in there. There's it's extremely unpredictable environment, but you have to maintain your composure and make it happen. So, regardless of the arena, I believe in business, I would have the same mindset. In my relationships with my family and my loved ones, I have the same mindset. When it gets crazy, take a deep breath, stay calm, and don't make choices out of fear. Stick to what you know, and just keep plowing forward. And I believe that's why I have confidence going into this match as well, because no matter what, no one's going to be able to take that from me.
Very well put, sir. Very well put.
Thank you.
Which also leads me into my next question, which is your matchup itself. Kameron Fardad will be taking on Dennis the Menace Kovalev here at Fighters Rep 20, sir. And speaking of you having to keep calm, Dennis got a real exciting style, I do gotta say.
Hmm.
And this is one matchup I was pretty excited for, looking at the X's and O's, because we have you, who I would say is a little more of a linear style fighter,
Hmm.
especially in terms of his striking, and has enough strength and power to kind of like stick forward and put pressure on and know when to disengage, versus Dennis, who is just not afraid to swing. He's
Right.
for the finish the whole time. He's throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you, and he goes till that final bell.
Yeah.
How do you kind of plan to handle the pressure that Dennis is going to present to you?
Yeah. So I know Dennis, just from watching the uh, clips and the film on him, that he really favors his overhand, and everything is kind of to set up that overhand. And he's trying to finish the fight with that overhand, like you said, from bell to bell. Um, I am pretty long for the weight class. I'm pretty tall, and my teammates always sort of tease me that I have like the torso of like a 5'3" guy, but like the limbs of like a 7'3" guy. So I've got really long legs and arms, for my body. And I think it's going to come down to footwork, using my long tools, and not I don't have to play the plant my feet in the center of the cage and swing for the fences game that I know Dennis likes to play. He likes to push people into the corner. He likes to really be in your face. And I think that for every fight, there's a path of the easiest path to victory. And I think even though I'm perfectly happy standing and trading, and I have no problem taking a punch. I believe I have a very strong chin, and I love engaging in that kind of dogfight. Um, I think I'm going to do that selectively rather than letting him dictate sort of that style. I have the luxury of having the range, and so I get to dictate when we do what.
I do have to agree, man. I would say a 5'3" guy of a really jacked dude. Um, because I did see you, like, I remember I saw you in person, and it is one thing that stood out to me. I was like, "This guy got one interesting build," because you had, like, this, like I said, just almost kinda stocky, like, big midsection and shoulders, you know? And then but then, like you said, these John Jones ass, like, long arms,
Yeah,
that can, like, reach from across the way, like, and I was like, "Man, that guy's got a good build." Like, if he can, really convert it over, he could be real, real dangerous, especially using that length. And I'm sure you already know just from years of grappling, just the advantage that kinda having a reach can even have, that when
yeah,
you put it towards punches, that's more distance to create power, that's
yeah.
more ability to create whip.
Absolutely. And, people have always told me that I do, my build is a striker's build. I have the build of a striker. And so I'm actually really happy that I invested so much time in the grappling, because what we see is, it's, in my opinion, it's very rare that you see high level strikers really invest in the grappling and become good grapplers later. So I'm happy that I built that grappler's base, and now I can start to work on something that may actually come a little more naturally to me. And yeah, I've got these long limbs. I know I have good kicks. In my last MMA fight, you know, this was last Saturday. I landed, uh, I think, two or three leg kicks, and my opponent. I've since talked to my opponent, and you could see on his leg, and just him after the fight. I mean, he could barely walk after those two or three leg kicks. I know I have strong leg kicks. I have these sharp little skinny shins that dig into the meat of the leg. Um, and yeah, I'm excited to. This is going to be kind of my coming out party, I think, in the kickboxing realm. I'm excited to show the improvements that I've made with my coaches. Yeah, Thor, Raging, who I believe are like sort of a match made in heaven when it comes to the striking game and the MMA game. So yeah, I'm really excited to show the improvements that I've made. I'm so early in my striking career. I did my first um, MMA. I fought for against Bobby Winther, the state title, and I had yet to take a single striking class at all in that fight. I was purely a jiu-jitsu guy at that point.
Wow.
I had never done any striking whatsoever at that point. So every month is a large, percentage of my overall training, and I'm still making very, very big gains because I'm so early in my striking training.
And henceforth, fans, why I keep saying this, you need to watch this fight. This is going to be an exciting fight because we're seeing a guy who's already proven himself in another sport start to make his transition into another sport, who I think has some hidden talent that he really gets on that stage is really going to be showcased, guys. And again, he's taken on a very, very game opponent in Dennis Kovalev. This is not going to be a fight where I see either guy really taking a step back. Personally, that's just, of my breakdown of both you guys, I don't see either of you wanting to really take a step back because at the end of the day, like you said, you're both competitors.
Right. Absolutely. And this is what I signed up for. I think Dennis is the perfect opponent. I have a lot of respect for him. Um, but, I came to test my mettle in the striking. I
Mhm.
didn't come to, play a point game. I came for a fight. And I think that's exactly what Dennis is going to give me. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And I can't wait. I'm excited to show everyone what a jiu-jitsu guy can do in the kickboxing ring.
Now I have to ask, is that why you did choose to make your debut in the Lions Den? You know, Give us a little bit more insight into the reasoning of why you chose Fighters Rep.
So it really has to do with my teammate Dylan Ludwig, who's going to be fighting for the title on the same card that I'm fighting. He has a lot of
Against
experience with.
Joseph Parker.
Yeah, what's that? Go ahead.
He's taken on Joseph Parker
Yeah,
for the incredible title.
yeah. And those of you who saw Dylan's last fight against Sadarov, um, that was, an insane fight, insane back and forth battle. Dylan is about as tough as they come, and he's has brutal hands, unrelenting, and he has a lot of experience in fighters rep. Also, my other teammate Raymond Solo Martinez, who has, both of these guys just have like brutal styles, um, unrelenting pressure, and so between those two guys and my coach Ray Jing, they have a lot of experience with fighters rep, and they love the way it's run. They love the people that are involved. So it was an obvious choice, just based on all the great experiences that my teammates and my coaches have had with Fighters Rep. And I'm really excited to be a part of the awesome show that they put together.
Well, we feel very grateful to have you, and I want to thank you for making that great choice to come and choose and represent yourself, your gym, and everyone else you want to represent in the Lions Den, sir. So that leads me, I only have about two questions left. Recently, you got the new nickname, man, Far Daddy. Coming back to that hilarious personality, man, which is also, I think, a great competitor's name because just, it's like that old, like, playground saying, right? Of like, whenever you got on to, like, a fight in like kindergarten and you're like, who's your daddy or who's your uncle, right? It's almost
Exactly.
that same like sentiment. I thought every time I'd be like, man, I can't imagine being beat by a guy whose nickname is Fart Daddy. It's like, oh, what comeback do you got now? So I gotta
Yes.
ask the origin of the new nickname.
So, interestingly enough, so my last name is Fardad, right? And Uh, I'm Persian. That's a Persian last name. But when you're in school and roll calls being read off, no one pronounces it Fardad. It's always Fardad, right? It's always Fardad, just based on the way that it's spelled. Fine, I got used to that. And this is a nickname. The reason why it's sticking so well and people love it so much is because people have been calling me that since I was in elementary school. That's been a nickname that I've had. I didn't give that nickname to myself. And they say that nicknames are given to you. You don't give nicknames to yourself. Fighter names. You're not really supposed to come up with them yourself. I don't think. So yeah, it's something that naturally stuck onto me. And like you said, it does have that little bit of like you're calling me daddy, right? So there's a little bit of a psychological game that's being played there, and yeah, I love it. So we stuck with it.
I can definitely relate growing up as a fellow Iranian, having a
Okay,
difficult last name of people adding, letters, syllables. And so therefore, right there, we just convert it to half. So I
got you,
completely get it, man.
got you. Yeah, well, um, it ended up working out for the best. The nickname came from it. So they say it's kind of it's metaphorical. It's like something that maybe used to bother me when I was younger, because it's like, that's not how you say my name, has now become like one of my greatest marketing tools. So I'm gonna take the weakness and turn it into a strength.
Yeah, I was about to say, same here. That's
Yeah,
how I got my hashtag. Like,
yeah,
same exact way.
exactly,
Nice.
exactly.
Well, that leads me into my next question, which we heard a little bit about it, but it's the always fun interview ending question of what can we expect from you in your debut fight at Fighters Rep 20? And any shout outs you want to make, man. The floor is yours.
Perfect. Well, as far as what you can expect from me, you can expect, um, of course, clean technique and good kickboxing, but also tenacity, the will to win. Um, you're gonna see a game opponent in there, an intelligent opponent. Um, I think that I'm going to shock everyone with the level that I've achieved relative to the time that I've been training kickboxing. Um, and I'm just excited to put on a show and to make my coaches proud. Just going straight into the shout outs, my coaches Thor Skanky, Rage Ing with the higher division. Thor Skanky's out of Pugilist Gym. And then, of course, I always have to shout out my jiu-jitsu professor, Rodrigo Carvalho, who, um, you know, helped raise me. So my my attitude and my way I look at life and the way that I approach challenges are largely were largely shaped by his influence. So yeah, everyone can be excited for um, if this is your first time watching me fight, I promise it won't be the last time. And the stakes are just going to keep getting higher and higher. So hop on the bandwagon now while you still can.
The man said it. Hop on the bandwagon now, guys. Fighters Rep 20 is just around the corner on November 18th. You're not going to want to miss it. We have great title fights. We have great amateur debuts. We have nonstop action. You're just not going to want to miss. Go to FightersRep.com to get your tickets and live stream now. They will be selling out soon, guys. Like I said, this is a really stacked card you're not going to want to miss. So get your tickets and live stream while you can. Thank you, Kameron. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you at Fighters Rep 20, sir.
Thank you, Adam. Let's do it.